And hello and welcome everyone to the Paranormal Filler Encore. That's right, I pulled the old gal out of mothballs to bring back my own little take on the paranormal. Did this thing for like 5 or 6 years, retired it to move to Scarefest TV, but now, because I just don't think there's enough paranormal podcast on there, what it is, this has been something that has been missing from my life. Actually getting in and talking nitty-gritty, talking down and dirty with the people that are out working in the field. So I'm bringing it back on a limited basis. We're going to do it once a month, twice a month maybe, but Paranormal Filler Encore is back. I hope everyone will enjoy themselves as I return to my roots. I'm the blunt object of the paranormal, and Paranormal Filler is dedicated to learning, thinking, and sharing. Now let's welcome to the show Connor Biddle and India Hopwood of Paranormal Encounters. Hello, you two. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. Hey.
Now, Connor, I was sitting here, I was trying to think. I felt like I should actually know you because from the old Paranormal Filler show. And I finally, by reading your bio, I figured out what it was. I actually did, at some point in my life, watch the documentary you did on The Haunting at Farrar.
Oh, wow.
And that is why the name was so familiar. I was going there to do an event, and I was busting my ass trying to find some decent footage of the place, so I knew what I was getting into. And that's where your name came up. Now, I do want to say, India, I'm assuming by your accent that you're not from around here.
No, I'm not.
So, you grew up in England.
Yes.
How old were you when you moved to the States?
I was just turned 11 when I moved to America.
Oh, okay.
I lost the accent.
Well, I'm surprised you haven't lost it. You should have moved down to the South somewhere like Kentucky, because we will just overwhelm your accent. Now, individual here, first I want you to tell the viewers and listeners how you actually gained your interest in the paranormal. Connor, we will start with you.
Well, I've always been interested. My family's always been interested in the paranormal, even when I was a kid. And you know that story everybody says, they live in a haunted house growing up, and I did live in a haunted house growing up. I had some weird experiences in this home. I used to live on the street, it's called Berkey Avenue. This house I used to grow up in, the man who the street was named after lived in that house. And I had some experiences one night when I was trying to sleep in there, and I shared a room with my brother, and I saw something come out of a closet. And since then, it sparked my interest as a kid. And when in high school, my friends and I were interested in the paranormal. They knew I liked ghost stuff. I loved to ghost shows and stuff like that. And we would go looking for abandoned houses. And there was this house that's supposed to be called the Witch House or something like that. And we'd always go there and try to go ghost hunting in the house. And one year we decided, I think our senior year, we decided to go to Waverly Hills Sanatorium. And when we went there, I actually talked to a ghost and walked in the hallway with one, which was so weird. And when I went back to tell my experience to my friends, they told me I walked in the hallway by myself. And I caught weird pictures there. And we found out about those when we got back to the hotel. And then a year or so later, I filmed a documentary, which you mentioned, A Haunting at the Farrar Elementary Schoolhouse. And since then, I've been doing the paranormal ever since then, honestly, and all my whole life, really, that I can really remember. But I've been around it so much. So
now I just want to clarify there. Okay, Waverly Hills, you heard a ghost with your human ears. No electronic devices between you and the ghost.
Not at Waverly Hills. Waverly Hills, so I was taking a tour with some friends. And I was walking down the hall, and I was kind of being some loud, high school kids were kind of loud and obnoxious. And the lady that was giving us the tour pointed her laser pointer at me and told me to walk down the hallway with this other guy. And I was like, okay, because I guess it's like where you see shadows and stuff like that. And down the end of the hallway, you can't really see. It was really dark at night. And I walked down there, and I was walking with this guy with his hat on. I couldn't see his face. And I said, well, this is kind of spooky, isn't this? And I said this with this guy, and he's like, yeah, it is. And I walk down the hallway, and I look away from him, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, man, this is really creepy. She's like, do you see any shadows? And I'm like, I don't really see any shadows. And I walk back to the end of the hallway, and I'm like looking around, trying to figure out where this guy with his ball cap was, because they told us to come back. And I went to tell my friends, and they told me I walked down there by myself. So that was one of the weirdest experiences I had at Waverly Hills. I did capture some voice recordings there that we didn't hear then at the time on our voice recordings.
Right.
Down in the death tunnel. And I caught weird pictures. I caught a picture of a dog or something like that underneath their piano room, their waiting room area. It was really weird. But yeah, that's what my experiences I had at Waverly Hills, really.
Now see, I've never had any luck in the death tunnel. I've been there three times, I think. I've gotten some good audio, but the death tunnel to me is the most well, except for the nurse's room. To me, that's almost a waste of this trip up the stairs. But the death tunnel, definitely interesting place, but I never actually caught anything down there that I found really interesting. Now, India, it's pretty much the same question. How did you, what triggered your interest in the paranormal?
So when I was really little, my mum used to tell this story about when she was around 12 or 13, she went to this castle in England, and she was in one of it was pretty much in ruins, but one of the towers you could still go up. So it was the middle of summer, it was really, really hot, they were having a heat wave in England, and she went up this tower with her dad, and her dad had come back down the tower, and she was there by herself, and she didn't really realize it, I don't think. She was looking out one of the windows, and she turned around and saw a woman floating off the floor. And she said that the whole room just like went freezing cold. She got goosebumps, like her hair stood up. And then there was it's a really long story, but there was a whole thing about if you see this woman, there's a curse and somebody will die, and somebody actually died. So it was, that got my interest in it. And then there was other family members that would tell me ghost stories of things that had happened to them. And I was just really freaked out by it, but I couldn't stop listening. Like, I absolutely love listening to the ghost stories. So, you know, when shows like Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters came about, I was really, really into those, and I just got hooked, and I knew I wanted to do that.
Hey, and you moved away from the most haunted country on earth to come to the States where I'm not saying we're not haunted. And I think it's funny that Connor one of his early experiences was at Waverly, because I am convinced that everything in the country has a Kentucky connection. Every haunting, I'll find it. If you give me enough time, I will find it. Everybody, you're watching Paranormal.